Hi, Gospel Guitarist here. Continuing on with the intro to mixers. This is part 2 of the series. I didn't plan on a part 2 until I started looking at this mixer I have and noticing some things I haven't brought out yet. So using this mixer here, I'm going to talk about some differences in the channels that you will find on your mixer selections, and give you a little bit of tips about shopping for a mixer. First, we're going to zoom in here on this section. Now, one of the differences you're going to find in mixers is that they offer different types of channels. On this side, we have a normal channel with your XLR input and your line input, as I discussed in the first video. And you have your normal EQ section, and then you have your auxiliary, your onboard effects, your pan, and your faders. And that's pretty typical. Every board's going to have at least that kind of thing on there. Now, this board is more designed for multiple types of inputs, like for use in your home studio. It's kind of getting blurry now between what you do in a home studio and what you do live, because live performances now include all types of DVDs and videos and playback systems, especially if you're in ministry work like I am. You never know what you're going to be called upon to deliver for, so the more types of inputs you have, the better. Now, this was my studio board before I advanced over to a Tascam interface. And I bought this board because it's, number one, it supplied FireWire. So with the FireWire system, I could actually get each channel to export to the computer system into my digital workstation. Where in the old days, now already for maybe 5-10 years ago, USB only offered the stereo bus. Then it advanced to FireWire because of the broadband width that you could send more than one channel to your computer. Today, USB has passed the capacity of the FireWire, as far as I know. And so many boards today that offer USB, they are multi-channel exports. It's not just limited to your stereo port anymore. It actually will do all these channels on the newer mixers. So this board here, getting back to this area here, one of the differences on this board here, we have a gain knob up here on the channel. On these two channels here, 7 and 8, for example, we have a gain knob. And then we have high, mid, and low. Notice there's no frequency selector here on your mids. It's just a straight up shelf mid control. And then you have your two auxiliaries, your onboard effects auxiliary and your pan, and everything else on the channel is the same. So the EQ is different on these two channels here. Okay, they eliminate the mid frequency knob. Okay, so here you have parametric mids on these channels. You lose your parametric mids. Okay, if we step over to these other two channels on 11 and 12, 13 and 14, there's yet another difference. So here there is no gain control at all. It's completely removed. So the outboard device that you plug in to this channel would have to be 1/4 inch inputs versus this channel where you got 1/4 inch stereo inputs, but you also still have the use of an XLRs if you want. Of course, that's not stereo. So here you would have stereo inputs, and hopefully you can control your level on the device that you're plugging in. Like if it's a DVD player or something, you've got an output control. That would set your level going into this channel. On this channel you also have settings for +4 or -10. +4 is usually professional gear, and commercial gear is usually rated at -10. Now the EQ system on these two channels, we have a high mid and a low mid, and then you have your lows along with your typical layout here with your auxiliaries. Nothing down there changes. So up here we have yet a third example of how your EQing is going to be. So we have a high mid and a low mid shelving EQ. It's a set frequency that those knobs adjust. But here we only have one frequency, and it's set at 25K, it says on the board. On this one we have two mids. So your high Q, it states, is at 3K, and your low mid is set at 800K. So we have high, low, mid on these two channels with only 1/4 inch. On these two channels we have only one mid control, no sweepable mid, and we also have a gain control, and we have stereo 1/4 inch inputs with XLRs. On your typical channels over here we have our XLR, a single input for your balanced, unbalanced, and sweepable mids. So you can see there's three distinctly different layouts here for your channels. Even though from the distance all the knobs are laid out the same way, but they do different things. So what you want to do here is, this is where my tip comes in. You want to write down what you have if you're using this in your studio, or if you're building a studio, or if you're building a PA. You want to write down everything that you're going to be plugging into this system. What kind of outputs do your outboard gear have? That's going to determine what you're going to need here for your channel layouts. Because these boards all look alike and you can get lost in the appearance of them, but be looking at every little nuance on these. Because if you just look at the one channel, you may be missing what the differences are. So just because the layout on this section all looks the same, but they do three different things. So you want to look closely at your needs and look closely at the boards that you're considering buying. And just to make sure, because the worst thing for me and most engineers is adapters. We hate adapters, okay? Adapters are noisy, they're cheap, they break. It's just another problem in the mix. You want your cables to be able to just plug right in, and you want your board to accommodate what you need it to accommodate without all the use of 100 adapters going in and out of everything. Just makes more and more problems. It just builds on itself. So get cables that you need to plug into the system. Get the right cables going out of the system's master section so that you can avoid as much of that as possible. Also on this board here has a section for the FireWire for all your assignments on that. So just be sure that the board will do what you need it to do, whether you're going to run out on FireWire or if you need USB. Make sure it's not only a stereo bus, make sure it covers all the channels going on the USB. But this is just another example of another board, and I hope that helps you out a little bit more. And that'll be it for the coverage of mixers at this point. And I hope you found the video interesting. Please click the like button and the share button, and stay tuned for another video next week as we keep on advancing in the audio world. And thanks for watching.